It's a great day to talk hockey on HabsCast.
Welcome back to HabsCast. We are live. This is a pregame show, special edition. Seems like the Canadiens are making me have these special editions every day lately. Um, Signing of Hutson yesterday obviously was huge news. Now today, HuGo. HuGo is in place. 5 more years. It's like these guys are joined at the hip or something. They got them signed them both at the same time. Um, I love it. I love that these two got extended. They obviously deserved every. You know, I don't know what the terms are. They never do disclose the terms for NHL scouts or GMs or you know um, presidents. You rarely see how much they're making, but presumably they got nice deals, and we were supposed to be joined by Rick. Unfortunately, he's at work, and when I started talking to him, it sounded like he was underwater or something. So, gonna have to do this solo. Bear with me. I'm still learning the ins and outs of hosting here, so it probably won't be as smooth as butter, but we'll give it our best shot. And appreciate the regulars here for showing up. I notice already Bish Boy, Drum Dude, Ronnie Williamson. Glad to see you all on board, guys, and let's have a good show here. Um, yeah, so th- HuGo gets extended. I'm just wondering, like did they sign the contract at the same time? And you know, Jeff Molson hands him a pen, and one says HuGo, no HuGo, no HuGo first, no HuGo first. Anyways, they got it done. Who knows who signed the contract first? And you know what, Bish Boy Steve, it is indeed. Let's show this. It's a great day to talk hockey, isn't it? Give us your thoughts on the signing and what you think about them being extended another 5 years. I say why not? I think the Canadiens are going to be contenders for the next 5 years, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're still around after 5 years. Now, wait a sec here. What did this guy have to say? I am quite disappointed in reading this. That was bad. Thank you, Joseph. That I aim to please. If it's bad, I have accomplished what I set out to accomplish. Make people groan. Uh, yeah, my puns. I can't help myself. I'm sorry. uh, anyway, get back to the signing. Oh, Rick sends his apologies. Hey, his typing's working better than his audio, obviously. No, no worries, Rick. Very sorry, folks. Unexpected issue at work with equipment. That's okay. I gave him like an hour's notice. Like, he's at work and he was willing to do this. So I have nothing but respect for Rick Springhetti, one of the nicest, most accommodating gentlemen I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. And Rick, I just appreciate that you even made the effort. Effort's what counts. Not, sometimes the results aren't great. Now, yeah, 5 years. I think what's important too is that Jeff Molson, who I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, I wrote an article in Recruit saying that he should strongly consider giving someone else the presidency. Well, he's finally relinquished that. I think that's very important to add as well. He has relinquished the president of hockey operations title to Jeff Gorton. So congratulations, Jeff. You've been promoted. You well deserved. I mean, if you look at the track record, unfortunately, I didn't have time to go through all the transactions, but you know, hiring Nick Bobrov, Marty St. Louis, Vinny Lecavalier, Pascal Vincent. They made starting with those decisions to begin with, all very solid. Obviously, Jeff Gorton taking a chance on somebody that didn't have GM experience in Kent Hughes, thinking outside the box. And that's what I've liked about this group. They've thought outside the box, and they did the same thing when they hired Marty St. Louis. And, it's worked out. I think I don't think anybody has an issue with these guys being re-signed. And for 5 years, that's fine. I mean, if in 3 years they're crap in the bed, they'll buy him out and get somebody else in there. But I'd be awfully surprised. Everything just seems to be going this way with the organization. Hutson signing. I got to show this. I think this is pretty cool. What went down? Marty didn't announce it before practice. Then let's a hot lap, and then it announced it to all the players. And look at them. Tell me that they weren't happy that Lane was, of course, Caulfield there hugging him. About the same size, those two. But I thought this was quite touching and revealing to just how close this group is, how tight-knit they are. Now you have a close look. All right, who wasn't smiling? Who didn't? Thinking, oh, is Suzuki pissed off that he got more money? No, he came back and hugged them. So, no. This group, I think they understand, hey, the salary cap's going up. We got to lock these guys in place. He wasn't going to get signed for less than, the guys that got signed 2-3 years ago. I don't think anyone has an issue whatsoever with how much he got signed for. So let's, I want to, I'm going to keep showing comments here because looks like a few people showed up, and I appreciate that. Another great move by Molson, says Greg. Also sounds like Gorton got a promotion, hockey operations. Yes, he did, Greg. And kudos to him. Kudos to Jeff finally giving up the reins there. He hey, he's a busy man. He's running a brewery too on top of this, right? And all of the other stuff he does. Give the, and I get it. Like, he wanted to see how Gorton did as vice president, and obviously he was comfortable with it. Now gives him the official title. So I think that's really cool that he did that. And I think the Canadiens are just everything's set up here to have a great run, and I'm really excited about the future with this group, and I'm glad they were re-signed. Now, bit of news. Tina just let's go back here. Tina just sent me a text saying that Brady Tkachuk's out at least a month, may need surgery. So that's a big hit for the Senators. Boy, the Panthers and the Senators both are big hits. They're losing their captains, Barkov and Tkachuk, two huge pieces. And then both Tkachuks are out, right? Matt Tkachuk's out as well. I'm telling you, I think the Atlantic Division's up for grabs. Now we'll have a look here quickly. Here's a look at the standings today. Montreal wins tonight. They're into that moves them into a tie with Panthers, and surprise, surprise, the Boston Bruins, who started off with 3 straight wins to everybody's surprise. Little surprised that the Red Wings, after Montreal manhandling them like they did, came back and beat the Leafs 2 straight. But it just goes to show you that parity has come to the Atlantic Division to a certain degree. And I wouldn't be surprised if the standings are fairly tight this year. I think, the Panthers, obviously, with those two guys out, aren't going to run away with the division, I don't think. The Leafs without Marner, they lose a 100-point scorer. How often does a team lose a 100-point scorer? It's bound to affect them, The Lightning, so-so start. Senators, so-so start. Sabres, well, Sabres. So it's, Canadiens win tonight. I hope that for their sake that they do. Home opener, they'll be 3-1. I was having a look at the stats, and the last time Montreal won 2 of their first 3 road games, and this is excluding the COVID year where they only played against Canadian teams and there wasn't crowds and stuff, so it really wasn't like road games. The last time was 2016 that they won at least 2 of their first 3 games on the road. So very encouraging start. 2016, for those who recall, was the Michel Therrien 10-game unbeaten streak to start the year, which I think shocked everyone, which came to a grinding halt with a 10-0 loss to Columbus, which I've never seen the likes where a team gets off to a 9-0-1 start and then loses the 11th 1-10-0. But that was the start of the end for Michel Therrien that year. He ended up getting replaced by Claude Julien before the end of the year, and the rest was history. But just an encouraging start. And if they can have a decent homestand here now, the Canadiens are setting themselves up for certainly not being in last place at U.S. Thanksgiving like last year when they made that improbable run. So it's I think it's all cool. Oh, Jarosky, he's starting to get the Demidov treatment a little bit there. They had a 4-minute power play in the third period, and Habs enthusiast who, he's an enthusiastic Habs fan that's based in France actually, and follows Jarosky's games even closer than I do, saying that he didn't see the ice on a 4-minute power play, which he's one of the best offensive players already on UFA, and I wonder about that. I caught the end of the game, and here's his second last shift, and boy, by the looks of this, okay, he gets the puck here. Just in watching this shift, I loved it. I loved what he did. He's I did not see the whole game, so I don't know how he played throughout the game, but I love his compete and battle here. He, I think he earned himself just based on the end of the game that I saw. He also played his last shift. He came close to scoring. I think he's earned himself a better look with UFA, and I'm hoping that he doesn't start getting there is a tendency with it wasn't just a Rottenberg thing. KHL coaches don't typically play 18-year-olds or even 19-year-olds a steady shift. I was surprised at the start of when he first came up that he was playing on the first and second line, and now it seems like the more normal thing is happening where he's playing less. But I may have jumped the gun there a couple of weeks ago saying that he might score more points than Demidov did in his KHL season. Clearly, based on usage in the last week, that's going to be tough, but he still looks good. He's a fantastic prospect, and I wouldn't worry too much about the fact that he's he hasn't got points in the last week. But let's have a look and see here. A few people making comments. Ron Williamson, you rock Grant. Oh, yeah, I certainly do. Thank you very much, Ron. I appreciate, Ron, by the way, you retweet like just about everything that I post. So as far as I'm concerned, you rock as well, buddy. Thanks for supporting me always, and thanks for tuning into this podcast. Grantcast, yeah, I guess today it is, as Bishop Boy Steve says, Grantcast. Today, it's the Grantcast. What else here? That was bad. Okay, yeah, I know. Let's see what Ronnie has to say. I think the signing is great. We hopefully have a cup before their contracts end, and they are resigned to extensions. Yes, I think, it's a good sign if they are signing another contract extension in 4 years. So let's hope at this point that's the case. If they don't make it to the end of their contracts, there's probably means that the Habs didn't win too many cups. What do we have here? Penelope Whiskey. Molson is a very good businessman. You have great help. You keep them. Couldn't agree more. That's exactly what I would say too. Grant, are you going to be live after the game as well? You're a machine. Yeah, that's the plan. I think Liam's going to be joining me after the game. I don't know if anyone else will be, but yeah, before he heads off for another quest there I think he's going to be hopefully interviewing Knuckles and Island later in the week. He's going to one of those Legends of Hockey things again later this week, and Brian Scrudlin and Nyland are going to be there, and he's going to see if he can't get interviews with both of them or one of them anyways. So that's pretty cool. But Liam, he's a machine too. I think he said he can come on after the show tonight. So good. I'm going to need help. I can only do one Grantcast a day. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about it's 3 games into the season, and I'm seeing a lot of people. I mean, from a Canadian standpoint, the Zach Bolduc trade for sure is it looks good, and it looks like the Canadiens got a steal, and it filled a need for the Canadiens, and by all means, I don't think anyone is ever going to regret this trade from a Montreal Canadiens standpoint. But I have been seeing a piling on for the Blues, and it's 3 games. These are two 22-year-olds, and 3 games after the trade. You shouldn't be piling on. Logan Mailloux has played 5th most minutes on St. Louis's blue line to start the year, 11:42. Jack-Eye, who's 3 years older, has played 11:11 so far in 3 games. Is anyone calling him a boss? No, these are 2 playoff teams, very good teams. They're young, inexperienced defensemen. Logan Mailloux played 100 games in the OHL, and he's already playing the 5th most minutes on a playoff team, at 22 years of age. I think he's right on track. Wait 5 years to see how St. Louis did in the trade. Like I say, I don't think Montreal's ever going to regret the trade, but the St. Louis Blues have, Jimmy Snuggerud is 21 years old. He has 2 goals and an assist in his first 3 games. That's the main reason why they felt that Bolduc was expendable. They got Dylan Holloway, a first-round pick, playing on the wing. They got Jake Neighbors, a young first-round pick, playing on the wing, and Jimmy Snuggerud. All 3 are key parts of the Blues right now, and that's why they felt that they were able to trade Zach Bolduc. Thank goodness, right? If you're a Canadiens fan, thank you very much. But to pick up a right defenseman who at 22 years of age is already playing in the NHL, this despite his real lack of experience at the OHL level, and his season and a half in the AHL or whatever. He's on track. I have no doubt whatsoever that Logan Mailloux is going to be a very solid NHL defenseman. He's going to have to adapt, just like every other young one does, to the NHL pace and size and skill. But it bothers me when I see people overreacting 3 games after a trade, especially when it's 22-year-olds that we're talking about here. I have no doubt whatsoever that Doug Armstrong isn't regretting that trade at this point. The Jimmy Snuggerud is off to a great start, and he's even younger than Bolduc. So anyway, it was a trade made to help each team, and down the road, that's exactly what it's going to do. But yes, for sure, Montreal, the trade's looking great for Montreal, and there's a lot to be happy about and excited about with Zach Bolduc. I think he's going to be an exceptional NHLer, and it's one of many reasons why Kent Hughes got his contract extended. I mean, is it just a coincidence that the contracts were a day after they finally signed Hutson? Probably, but it is kind of it's fun to mention that Lane gets signed. Oh, okay. Well, we'll sign you guys. I'm sure Jeff was quite happy that they got the deal done for Lane. But regardless, they were signing these guys. I'm just pulling your legs, guys. But maybe not. Ronnie seems to agree that there's no coincidence there. Yeah. Okay. I didn't mention Kyrou, Jason, because he's not 22 years. He's not a kid. They have other wingers too. Toropchenko. Like, I can list a few of them that are pretty solid. But just the fact that this young group of wingers that they have, right? The old man out of the 3 is like 24 years old, neighbors, 23 or 24. So they thought that there was, that down the road, 3-4 years from now, they were going to be solid on the wing. And they have, don't forget, they've got like Dvorsky, they've got the kid that played with NYA. I can't think of his name, Picard. Anyway, he's a terrific looking winger prospect as well. They had the pieces to make the deal because they're loaded. Stenberg as well, Otto Stenberg. Like, St. Louis has done a terrific job of rebuilding, restocking the cupboard, and the wing might be their deepest spot going forward. So it made sense from their perspective to do this deal. And, kudos to Kent Hughes for identifying teams and that's how you do it, right? You study other teams' depth charts, you look at it, you say, okay, well, St. Louis has a, embarrassment of riches on the wing, all these young wingers. We've got an embarrassment of riches young defensemen. We just traded for Dobson, so there's no spot for Mailloux anytime soon. Why don't we see if St. Louis will give up one of their young players, and hopefully it's Bolduc, the hometown kid and everything, and it just perfect storm, and it worked out perfectly for them. So I love the job that Kent Hughes has been doing so far, and I think Rick couldn't come on, but he's contributing here anyway. Thank you. And projected cap space is $27 million for next season. Now, do they re-sign? Yeah. That's not counting having to sign Bolduc and Matheson, I guess, right, Rick? So yeah, there's going to be some cap space next year. I'm not worried about the Canadiens in cap space whatsoever. They have young players that are going to be coming in on ELCs continuously here as time goes along. They're set. Like that offsets these big contracts that, I mean, if Bolduc scores 35 goals this year, they'll have to pay him 7.5 plus, probably somewhere between 7.5 and 8.5 on a long-term deal. It's just the reality with the cap going up as it is, exponent. It's just the way it is. So, but when you have other young players that will be coming in and be on ELCs as time goes along here, it's and it's one of the reasons why I think the Canadiens are going to contend for the next decade. Teams like Tampa, well, we already saw it with Boston, right? They kept trading away first-round picks and young players year after year to try to win now, while they still had the older core in place. And it didn't happen instantly after Bergeron retired and Krejci retired, but it did catch up to them not having those young up and coming players that can play top 9 roles, keep you under the cap and balance the cap with ELC contracts. Well, the Canadiens, they're going to have a bunch of guys coming in over the next 5 years, 1 or 2 a year likely, who will be on ELCs and will help offset the bigger contracts that the Canadiens have to sign. So anyway, it's Pekarchik. Thank you, Rick. I don't know why I couldn't think of his name, because I love him. He's a hell of a prospect. We were, I don't think it's Juan, but yeah, Pekarchik, and it's spelled IC, but yes, Pekarchik. He's or IK. I mean, he's a hell of a prospect. I went to a game in BLB to go see the Carbonneau versus NYA last year, the big showdown. Ran into Snake, Simon Snake Boisvert there as well. We had a great chat. Snake's a nice guy. We had a hell of a chat. The intermission, me, Rick, and Snake. Of course, 3 guys that just love talking hockey prospects. And man, it's too bad that he had dinner planned after the game, or he could have joined Rick and I after for a couple of pints. But next time I'm down and Snake's got a little more time, I'm sure we'll get out for a couple pints. Me, you, and Snake, right, Rick? Yeah, for sure. Now, Michael Whalen has to say Bo Horvat would be perfect in Montreal. Yeah, well, so far, that we were just talking about cap room, right? Oliver Kapanen is on an ELC, right? He's helping. He's one of the reasons why the Canadiens. It's fantastic to have a guy on an ELC playing a top 3 center line role. It's not that often but it affords you the luxury of having more cap space and being able to sign someone else, right? Or trading for someone else down the road. Now, is Kapanen in Bo Horvat's league? No, not at this point. But he's looked fine so far, and I would I want Kapanen to get a good, fair audition, playing with Demidov and playing with offensive players, because I think that he can be very effective in that role, and I hope that I think that the start to the season for Kapanen has made it less of an emergency to be looking for a second line center. I also think Doc looks a little better so far. down the middle, the Habs aren't too bad right now. We'll see. I mean, time goes along, and Marty continues not to have enough faith in Kapanen to play him more than 10 to 12 minutes a night. Then yes, at some point, if the Canadiens are in contention, there's a team following out, that one of those teams could be the Islanders. Well, then yeah, you look at adding a player like Horvat. I know in the past I have mentioned that, and 2 years ago or last year I was pushing for Horvat. So I don't disagree that Horvat would look good in a Montreal lineup if they end up pushing for a good, they have a good playoff seed, and they think they can win, multiple rounds or one round at least in the playoffs. They'll explore picking up another center, I'm sure. Pickford better than Reinbacher. Well, I keep seeing the Reinbacher. The guy's not playing, right? It's easy to pick on the guy that's not playing right now, but let's just hold off. Reinbacher's a fantastic defenseman. Pickford might have more offensive ability than Reinbacher, better shot, but will he be a better? I mean, it's possible. It's possible down the road, but David Reinbacher is an elite defensive defenseman for his age, and we just have to be patient. Let him get some time, some experience at the NHL level and at the AHL level. In North America, he needs to keep adapting to the smaller rink. He's played 33 games in North America so far. So, let's just try to be patient. It's easy to be impatient with somebody who's not playing at all right now, but I have a feeling that by season's end, he's going to just look terrific in Laval, and next year he'll step into the lineup. Yeah, no, right. The fact that Horvat, that's one of the reasons why I wanted Horvat, Jason, is because he is a lefty, but that's something that's a little bit overblown. I think the having all centers that shoot the same way. I mean, I've seen Russian teams that I think the whole lineup shot the same way, and they used to beat they beat Gretzky and Lemieux with it. So yeah, I mean, again, Bo Horvat would be a great ad, but you got to have the cap space. You got to have the assets. You're not giving them up for nothing. It would cost you a dear penny to get Bo Horvat. And who knows? Like, it's 3 games into the year. Islanders want to make the playoffs. They have no intention. Like, they're not going to turn around and trade it. They're 2 points out of a playoff spot at this point in the season. So nobody's thinking about trading their best player right now. This early in the season, it's what message does that send to the fan base and to the other players on the team? So we'll see. Maybe Bo Horvat's a guy that you consider down the road. Yeah. Bronco Booger. I think that's his real name too. Yes, Bronco, Mr. Booger, still waiting to see HuGo on the ice for their team group hug. Yeah. They were too busy getting shown the money, I guess, right? Probably having a drink of scotch and a cigar when that happened. But yeah, it would have been cool for them to jog out onto the ice and give the group hug too. Yeah, no, that good point. Maybe Gorton will be asked to do a lap, or he could probably use wouldn't hurt him to do a couple of laps, and maybe they can talk him into that. And while he's out there, everybody come out and give him a hug. Good plan. Let's see here. Has anyone seen lineup when I went to when I went live, I did not see if there were any lineup changes. I'm presuming it's going to be the same. Typically, you go on the road and you win 2 out of 3. You don't just right. So it's probably the same lineup as last game. But Glenn S. asks, Grant, when do you think Veleno plays his first game and who comes out? Yeah, I don't, I'd have to look at the schedule, but that's the issue, right? Maybe he doesn't play his first game until somebody's nursing an injury, has to miss a game. Like, I don't know who you pull out of the lineup at this point, unless it's Line. But, I think you have to be careful with Line. He's a pretty proud man, right? Making $8.5 million. Already, pushing it by having him on the fourth line. So I don't know. There would be quite a media storm surrounding that too. And I don't know that the club wants that right now. Everything's kind of lovey-dovey. Do you stir the hornet's nest by pulling out Line out of the lineup even for a game? I think probably not. Veleno, hey, he was picked up to be, he's not 21, 22 anymore. He's not in the development stage necessarily. He was picked up to be the spare. I mean, how long did Bezzetta have to wait last year? It was quite a while, You've got your 12 guys, and as long as the team is winning, I don't see them making a change. As long as they're all healthy, probably not making a change. It's too bad for Veleno because I think he had a terrific exhibition season, and he deserves to be playing in an NHL lineup. It's just Montreal right now, they're a pretty strong group. So he will have to wait until there is an injury, I would suspect. Or if they start losing, then yeah, it'll it'll happen. Drum Dude 74, HuGo have built a pretty good team. Berge did some good stuff, yeah, but these guys have me excited about the Habs again. Yeah, Berge didn't lose too many trades. He was a good trader. There were certain things with Berge that bothered me. I think some of his coaching hires, being stuck in the 90s with not paying much attention to analytics and having a proper development coach, picking up defensemen that were in his image, not necessarily mobile puck movers, which is something that the new regime has changed, and for the better. The Canadiens, I think, have one of the fastest teams in the league now, and in large part, you have to. It's because of that mobile defense core transition, quick transitions of the puck, right? Move the puck quickly, skate out of the zone quickly. Jordy Ben couldn't carry the puck out of his own zone, but he was a Bergevin type defenseman, right? But you can only have so many of those, and I think Berge kind of went overboard with the Alsners and the Jordy Bens and stuff. I like what the new regime's doing in that respect. I like how they've drafted. There's no coincidence, I don't think, though, that, Marty Lapointe that was one of Berge's better moves, was moving, first of all, grabbing Marty Lapointe and first in development, but then identifying that he was good at amateur scouting and putting him in that position. I think their drafting since Marty's been in place has been excellent. Let's see here. I might have to pause here while I'm reading a few. Unfortunately, when you don't have anyone else to blab, so there's going to be a couple of pauses here, but I'd like to get to as many questions as I can. Greg says another great move. Oh, I think I may have already said that. I just like the name Greg. I get called that all the time. Greg or Brent? Andy Zaff, off topic, but it is worrisome that in 2 or 3 games the Habs played, they gave up goals quickly after scoring themselves and controlling the game. Yeah, quick start for other teams. A couple of missteps on draws. Like I think having Bolduc his very first shift with the Canadiens take a draw in his own zone was asking a lot, considering he's a winger. He's been practicing with Mark Bureau, but that was a tough position to put him in, and lost the draw cleanly. Toronto scored first goal. Then Evans not being out to start the power play, and Newhook for some reason taking the draw in the defensive zone, losing it cleanly, and them scoring first goal again, right? So, but I think Marty adjusted to that. Every PK after that, he made sure that it was Evans out there to take the draw to start, and not Newhook, who's a 42%. I checked his stats, and 42% in the top face-off circle in the defensive zone for his career. So I hope that ceases. That I'm not sure actually. Kapanen's 4 for 7 in that spot, 57% so far, but for some reason Alex keeps taking the draws there, and I hope that changes, because I think Kapanen will be and already is a better face-off guy than Alex Newhook. Although I have liked Newhook so far this year. Matrix has to say, what a day. Yeah. I think yesterday was even more of a day. Hutson signing, it was starting to become a little worrisome, because Hutson by no means been terrible the first 3 games, but I think there was more there, and I think it may have been weighing on him some. And from all reports, he just finally said, "Hey, let's get this done." Right? I'm happy with $8.85 million. I mean, the kid lives in the rink anyways. He wouldn't know what to do with the money. Like, you can't, unless he's practicing and burning $100 bills as he's practicing, he'll never spend the money, because the kid lives in a rink, hockey rink. So it's not about money with him. And I think from all reports of what he just finally stepped in and said, "Look, get it done." It just goes to show you what kind of a kid he is, and he's a keeper, and the Canadiens are keeping him, and I'm damn glad of that. Kelly Lonergan, glad to see they're staying. That means they will be leading our beloved team and not another NHL team. Hallelujah. Because they are tandem, we can refer to them as HuGo Boss. Yeah, there you go. I dubbed them Jeff Kent, former Blue Jay, former MLB player. I dubbed them Jeff Kent a while ago, and that one kind of works too. But HuGo and HuGo Boss, mint. Glenn S. Grant, I may be off, but I calculate with next year's cap increase and changes with Laine not returning. Yeah, I'd say that's a good bet. Hudson's new contract, the Bolduc contract, I still see 11 to 12 million cap space, correct? Guys, I'm not a capologist. I'm a scout, analyst, journalist, but capologist is not. I wear a cap, but I'm not a capologist. I apologize for that. I don't pay that close of attention to that part of it. And I mean, hey, GMs have their capologists, right? They don't pay all that close attention to it. They've got their math guy in there that, even though I was good in math when I was a kid, I don't follow that part of it closely enough that I could confirm or deny. I think that's probably good. And I'm sure some people have weighed in along here that do follow that part of it more closely than I do. I mean, I take a trip to Puckpedia or whatever, and I'm sure they've got it all figured out. Okay, yeah, Rick had already answered this. There you go. 27 million. Imagine. Yeah, Kapanen's second line center role may not be for long, but anyway, it's good to have depth, right? We'll take a couple more quick ones, guys, but we'll wrap this up soon. Okay, yeah. I'll take you up on that, Ron. Calgary, eh? Okay, that explains a lot. I like the invite, Ron, and definitely I get out there. I'll stop by wherever you are for a pint, no doubt about it. We see. Has there been a lineup announced yet, folks? Anybody got? Let's get down to the bottom. RR Grant, you look like a tough guy. Yeah, looks can be deceiving, RR, but thanks. I'm stocky, big boy, red hair in my day, and thankfully I didn't. I guess I looked intimidating enough that not a lot of people bothered me. But yeah, I'm not a lover or a fighter. Okay, I'm more of a lover than a fighter. Put it that way. Beating each other's brains out never made much sense to me. If cap goes up to 104, it will give around 27 million to work with. Yeah, that was like what Rick had said. Yeah. Well, I don't think it'll be Line A getting signed. Matheson. It's funny how a few good games start the year can change viewpoints of people. I've been saying it since last year that I don't think he gets dealt this year. That I think, especially if they're in the playoff hunt, and especially now with him and Dobson looking so good together, paired together, he finally got a bona fide first pairing right-hand defenseman to play with, and he looks better. That doesn't shock me. The Canadiens are not going to, if they're in a playoff spot, what message does it send to the fans? What message does it send to the players? Matheson's beloved in the dressing room. He's a mentor. No NHL team has ever had playoff success without multiple 30-something veterans in the lineup. Matheson is that. He's a leader. He's a first pairing defenseman. They won't be getting rid of Matheson if they're in the playoff race, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be. Matheson, 5 years, $5.5 million. Yeah. Geez, it'd be nice if he. How many first pairing defensemen are signing $5.5 million? Yeah, that'd be a real hometown discount, wouldn't it? Hopefully, it probably cost them $6.5 million. They wanted to sign Matheson 5 years, but we'll see. And I think I don't foresee him starting to regress for 5 years. Like, I don't think 2 years into it you'd be regretting it and saying, oh, he's on the down slope. Typically, really mobile defensemen like Matheson are good right up till 35 to 37. Yeah, exactly, Ron. I couldn't agree more. He was he's got a bona fide right-hand defenseman first pairing to play with now, and he's not playing 28 minutes a game anymore with 4 rookies in the lineup or asked to play on his wrong side, and he looks better. It's not a surprise, and I'm glad that people are come around on him, and that there's not this call to get rid of him. All right, folks, we hit 50 minutes. My voice is starting to go. I got to save a little bit of it for tonight. I know Liam will help me out on that front. He always does. But I will, I'll need to have a little bit of, I don't want laryngitis for the post-game show tonight. Hope you can all join me again after, and we'll Johnny Golden, big fan of all your content. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. And I'm a big fan of all you guys showing up and listening to me, blab on here. So thanks for coming out. I really hope you can join me again after. Liam, I believe, is going to be there. Maybe we can get someone else on board too. We'll see. I'm going to ask the rest of the guys once I get off here. Go Habs, go. Let's see them. Quickly. I want to just quickly here. Shane Wright. Where's the hype? Where's the hype around Shane Wright? I have hardly read anything, right? If you'd have told me, I wrote an article too, by the way, and it's up on Patreon site. You can go look at it. I gave you free access for the day, but if you had told me, the night of the first round, after the first round, that 3.5 years later, Seattle would be showing up for a home opener only 3.5 years later, and there'd be no buzz around Slaf versus Wright. It's funny, right? But I'm telling you, if Wright had got off to a better start to his career than Slaf, that'd be all they'd be talking about right now. It's the negative story gets precedence so many times, but since Slaf has been better than Wright so far, crickets, right? It's not a story because there's nothing to complain about. Anyway, I find it funny. I mean, Wright could, as long as Slaf doesn't hand the puck to him 3 times and he gets a hat trick, even if he gets a point or 2 more than Slaf next game, because the Canadiens are on the rise, because there's other players, because Slaf's been better than Wright so far, it's almost a non-story going into the home opener, and I find that amusing. But hey, that's hockey, folks. Anyway, thanks again. Have a good one. Hope to see you after the game tonight.